can be here on the final day of the Senior Oral Defense presentations to support the presenters who work so hard to research their topics. I want to remind you, if you're just arriving, to use technology responsibly during this presentation. So if you have a cell phone with you, will you please check it right now to make sure that it's on silent or vibrate mode. Also, do not leave your technology behind, okay? Make sure you take it with you when you go. I also want to remind you that in the modern world, there are so many distractions, and it's really easy for us to look into that window that is our phone and look at the outside world. But I would like to encourage you to close that window for now and just be here and pay full attention to the person who's presenting at the front of the room. One of the unique things about Carroll Morgan School is that we give our senior students a half an hour to present on a topic that they are interested in and feel strongly about. And I think this is a really, really wonderful opportunity for people to discover their voice and for us to discover who they are. So I appreciate you being here to celebrate that tradition with us. And it gives me great pleasure to introduce Diego.
Okay. Hello, my name is Diego Cabrera, and today I will be talking to you about sportsmanship and gamesmanship. I will be explaining what they are later on, and I will also like to address why in sports they should enforce sportsmanship even more, and how does that apply to politics as well. We're gonna start off by watching a pretty straightforward video. If you don't understand the word, I will explain at the end. Thank you.
I think it was just instinct. Any player would have done the same, not just me. I shot the ball with my knee. Then a player from Ghana headed the ball, and my first instinct, my first reaction was to use my hand. The ball would have gone in, and a penalty was awarded. Some people have accused me of a lack of sportsmanship, but I think it's worse that the player suffers an injury when he's stopped by a bad tackle as he's about to score. The penalties were an incredible story. Every time a player took a penalty, Sebastian Leroux would say to his teammate Jorge Jose, "Did you see that? The Ghana goalkeeper moved." Eventually, Vasily got fed up and said, "Look, if you want to chip it, chip it." It was a brave decision by the coach to have Leroux take a penalty, especially as you know that Leroux is capable of trying things and making everyone suffer. I didn't know who was going to take the penalties because I'd been sent off. I was in the dressing room with reserve keeper Juan Guillermo Castillo and someone else watching the penalties from there. When we saw Leroux was going to take one, and to be fair, I didn't realise he was going to take the fifth. Guillermo and I started to discuss how he was going to take it. I said he wasn't going to chip the ball, but Guillermo argued that he would. Then we saw him chip it. We cheered the goal and remained shocked for a minute or so at what he'd just done. Then we realised we won the game, so we went out onto the pitch to hug everyone and celebrate the victory.
What I want to show in this video is, you can see that Luis Suarez is a very famous soccer player. He plays for Barcelona right now. He, in the 2010 World Cup, he used his hands to make his team go through, basically. So, as Ghana were the team they were playing against, as a player from Ghana headed the ball went in, they passed to the next round. But Luis Suarez, knowing he would get a red card and be ejected, he used his hands. And I would like regarded as a very unsportsmanlike action, because as you can see, Uruguay, which didn't deserve to win at all, passed, and Ghana didn't. It's not whether you win or lose, it's how you play the game. Okay, so in this presentation, I would like to discuss these two key concepts, which is sportsmanship. The definition of sportsmanship is fair play, respect for opponents, and polite behavior by someone who is competing in a sport or other competition. Gamesmanship is the topic that I stumbled upon while I was researching. Gamesmanship is the practice of winning a game or contest by doing things that seem unfair but are not actually against the rules. So, in other words, gamesmanship is when you push the rules to its limit. You don't actually break them, but you push them to the limit to get an edge over your opponent. Globally, the rules regarding what constitutes fair play are changing. Both professional athletes and politicians are focusing too much on winning. Leaders in both fields are losing track of what they're actually trying to accomplish and don't realize the effects their actions have on others. The roots of these problems are greed, pride, and rivalry. How can we combat these human failings? Sports organizations have governing bodies with the power to enforce rules of civility. They should strengthen these rules. In politics, civility is best enforced by the people. As citizens, we should hold politicians accountable for bad behavior and praise them for good actions. But problem number one, the beauty of the game is lost. I would like to address once again this Luis Suarez example. Luis Suarez, as I said, he took his hand and made his team pass through. They went to penalties and they won. They shouldn't have been allowed to win. As you saw, as you witnessed, the team that didn't deserve to win at all actually passed and went on to play the World Cup and continue in the route. I would actually like to talk about some knowledge I know for myself, why this is a problem. Luis Suarez, he's a world-class striker. As a fan of the sport, I can say this. He is the one that nowadays, this season, has the most goals scored and the most assists in all of Europe. He has a season that makes him, in my opinion, a candidate for the best player to win the Ballon d'Or, which is an award that makes you the best player in the world, basically. The only problem with this is that because how he is not the first issue. He's a very controversial player. He has issues with racism, with fighting people, actually. I think his fans saw that. And yeah, like he's a very controversial player, and he's actually very hated. And the people who vote for who wins the Ballon d'Or, for the performance of other people, are other players and coaches and captains. These might actually, like this type of actions that make his team go through might actually affect him at a personal level and may not let him fulfill a childhood dream, which is to become the best player in the world, just because of how he is, even though he is very talented. Problem number two, as I was stressing, as a player, you get a reputation that might hurt your career. This is Adam Gilchrist. He's a professional cricket player that plays for England. And there is a term I would like to define, which is called WOP in cricket. It is the technical cricket term where the batsman gives himself out when the umpire fails to hear the sound of the leather feathering the bat, if the ball is subsequently caught, basically. And therefore, it indicate that the batsman was out. Nonetheless, if the batsman knows that choosing is hard, he can choose to walk. So basically, it's like when you know you're out as a player, as a batsman, and the umpire doesn't call it, but you know you're out in your heart, and you don't want to be like that, so you just take a walk. Just basically, you out yourself. In the World Championship, Adam Gilchrist, as I say, is a very talented player for England. The umpire didn't see a call in which he was clearly out, and other players did. And he, as the game was very intense, he wanted to win. He didn't take a walk. He was then regarded as a very unhonorable man. The umpires started to treat him differently, the other players. It affected him at a personal level. He defended himself that he could do that and still be an honorable man, but as you can see, Roebuck states, sometimes it's just not possible to have foot in both camps. And as the critics further say, his sense of fair play must be applied across the board or not at all. He can't be a gamesman-like man, he can be honorable and still be expected to treat it that way. But problem number 3, professional athletes and politicians are very famous and they influence the lives of people who idolize and follow them. I would like to use an example, once again from soccer, in which Gerard Piqué and Arbeloa, which are players for Barcelona and Real Madrid respectively, Gerard Piqué said this comment: Arbeloa es solo un cono, sí. Un cono, it's a cone in Spanish. It's a cone in Spanish, cono. And conocido is no. Like he said that he only knows Arbeloa, but he wanted to criticize him that he's a cone, because that's why they criticize him, Arbeloa, that he doesn't move, that he's old, that he's not good in the field. And as the players from Barcelona and Real Madrid, like this fueled up the rivalry they have, and they would start a Twitter rant on social media from the fans, from those two. He continued on and on and on, back and forth, disputing and fighting. And followers started getting very riled up. There were fights from little kids. They destroyed the buses of the other team. The fans destroyed the buses of the other team. And something that's not really weird in football, but they fired up. They added fuel to the fire. I mean, they shouldn't do that because it brings out many problems. I remember myself as a little kid that I used to fight with my friends all the time, that it was the better team. And Real Madrid Barcelona was the better player. Still today. Yeah. Still today. Cristiano Ronaldo or even Messi. There's Real Madrid and Barcelona. I mean, this isn't necessary. They're actually teammates in Spain. They're from the same team in Spain. They play in the same team in Spain. They represent their countries. They're both very talented players. And they're teammates. There shouldn't be a need for them to actually do this. I would also like to address politics in the elections. We all know who Donald Trump is. To be quite honest, I knew who he was, but I didn't really know who he was before these elections. I knew he was a very rich man, but I didn't know how, I don't want to say this, but how radical he is, how crazy he is. And I'm not here to say whether he should be elected or not, whether he will be a good president or not. I'm just saying how he runs his elections. I like to say this quote of Jack Layton. He said, "Politics has ceased about honest policy. Differences in alternative visions for the country. Politics has instead become personal, and that it's now about the people involved instead of about the people being governed." This says to me that it's not about the policies you make as a politician anymore. Like, of course, that influences your polls, but it's to show that yourself. And this guy, I see him every day in social media with new headlines that he insulted Muslims, that he insulted women, that he's very radical and he wants to take the Mexicans out and wants to build a wall. And I'm not saying that he shouldn't run for office, but we have to be aware if we really want this man representing the US, which is probably most powerful country in the world right now. And you have to be aware of who you want to be your president. He can be a good president, I'm saying it's not, but it's still to be seen how the public relations of the US will be affected if he does win the elections. One example of one of his moves, that's a clever example, is as early as December 8th, the visitors to JebBush.com were being redirected to the campaign website for fellow Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump. So he played a prank to an already struggling campaign, which was his enemy, Jeb Bush, who his contract for his website expired, and Donald Trump took advantage of this, and he actually bought Jeb Bush's website and redirected it to his page. So every time someone tried to enter JebBush.com, they actually went to Donald Trump's. It was a small prank. It's actually I find it very funny, to be honest, but it does affect how he does the poll. My solutions. I would like to propose a solution that is, as I said, in sports, governing bodies can do exist that enforce these rules. But what I say is they implement fines that I think they're way too low. So a solution, I would like to use the example of the NFL here, is to raise the money that people pay for fines, players pay for fines. I took this chart from the NFL official website, where it says how much players pay for the fines. Sportsmanship, it has three categories: excessive profanity, other sportsmanlike conduct towards opponents, game and personnel. It ranges from $11,576 to $23,152. Taunting ranges from $8,681 to $11,576. And football into the stands, which ranges from $5,787 to $11,576. As you can see, as of 2015, the minimum salary for a rookie is at least $435 per season, which is like a lot of money. And that's, keep in mind, that's the minimum salary for a rookie, which is his first year. That's the minimum salary he can get. I mean, if you compare the $11,000 to the $23,000 to what he makes, he won't be afraid to do any sportsmanlike conduct. He would just do it and then pay the fine. It wouldn't really affect his life so much. My proposing is to raise the fines to either something that he feels like, or say that actually affects him, like double the price, maybe $50,000, so that he doesn't do it anymore. And I would also like to call out for people in politics, just to, as a reminder that we should actually focus on what the politics are for our politicians and not how they sell the show. I was seeing my Facebook one day and I stumbled across this comment where Nico Peña posted this video. He shared this video, he didn't post it. He shared it, and this is John McCain that said, well, he was against Obama. I will show it to you guys right now. And a comment from David Lalo, which is actually another classmate of mine. Let's watch the video and I will explain. It's just 27 seconds.
I can't trust someone. I can't trust someone. I have read about him, and he's an Arab. He's not. No,
man. He's a decent family man, citizen that I just happen to have disagreements with on fundamental issues, and that's what this campaign is all about. He's not. Thank you.
As you saw in the video, a woman that actually followed McCain called Obama an Arab, and he said, "No, man. It's just he's just a man with different views. He's a decent family man." And I personally would like to see more of this. As David Lalo said, the way I see it, people are moving away from seeing politics as a matter of opinion to a matter of character and value of a person. It's why we see people calling those with different views disgusting or not an Arab. I don't like it one bit. It's antagonism that can't happen. That's an old classmate of mine, and I really like it. I put it in my PowerPoint because I think he hit the spot. Nico Peña said, "Chivalry is not dead," when he posted this video. It's not at all like the campaigns we see today with Donald Trump, where people go back and forth with each other. And it reminds us that we should actually do not see politics as a matter of opinion and a matter of character and value of the person, but as that we're actually going to be governed by this person. And yes, we should do more of this, and people do actually react to this, as you saw with Nico and David. In conclusion, what I want to say is we should actually regard sports and enforce more sportsmanship in sports and in politics, and be aware of what we're actually voting for and who we're voting for when we are. It's not how, once again, it's not how you play the game. It's not about winning or losing, it's how you play the game. Thank you. Okay, so any questions? Milky.
You said that people should be fined by bad sportsmanship. Do you think people should be rewarded by winning
think both, actually. That's a very good question. I think that people who commit the foul, who commits the unsportsmanlike action, should be fined so that he doesn't do it again, or maybe that it hurts his actual salary, and he doesn't keep right with it, that it's nothing. But I think people should actually be rewarded for doing good integrity. And people are actually, as I said, I'm a fan of football, and I know about good sportsmen's actions that stay in my mind because it actually like touches my heart to say, and touches the heart of the crowd. So, for example, let me give you an example. As when Real Madrid and Barcelona, I'm going to use it again, Eric Cavidal was a player from Barcelona who was suffering from cancer, and he was dying, literally. And Real Madrid stepped out to the field with shirts that said Forza Vidal, which is in Catalan. That's the language you speak in Barcelona. And it says Strength Vidal. And it's just to support him, and then he could pass the cancer, fortunately, and he could play again, but he was never the same.
What would your ideal form of sportsmanship look like in a candidate, in a presidential candidate, like Donald Trump, for example?
Well, I think that I would like to see, as I said, I'm not the person who knows most about politics. I'm just here to say, as I said, how we have to watch out on how we run our elections. But I would like to see more. I would like to see Donald Trump be more as John McCain, and he is like basically exactly the opposite. And maybe that's what the people want. Maybe it's not. I'm not here to say that, but I would like to see more about people from John McCain. That's a guy I would like to be led by. I don't know about the politics. I haven't researched that, but he's a very honorable man. I can see that he defended his opponent, the one that was running for office against him. I would like to see Donald Trump do more. Yes.
Wouldn't you say that it'd be better for the leagues to like increase the fines proportionally in terms of percentages in relation to what athletes earn? Because, for example, if you raise the fine from $9,000 to $23,000, given the fact that the minimum salary of a rookie was $400,000, right? That wouldn't be an issue for players who gain a lot of money right now, like Tom Brady, for example, or Peyton Manning. And for example, for them, wouldn't you say it's better to fine them proportionally to what they gain? For example, at 5 or 2%, like fine to what the salary they are getting right now.
I actually do agree. I think it is true. It's the 435,000. That's what the minimum cap for a rookie. It's true. Maybe the big players, I have to agree with what you said. The big players like Tom Brady and Peyton Manning, they're superstars. They get paid much more. And I do agree with more because they're the role models. They're the people who children see the most. They're people who follow that. I think that's a very smart point.
So I want to follow up on Elias's question, moving into the social or political realm. If you follow that same logic, the consequences for bad behavior should become stronger the more power and influence you have? Is honor more important as you gain power and influence in the world?
I think it is because, as I said, you're the person who people watch for an example. The people who are everywhere, the people who analyze you, they're going to do what you do, basically. And I do think that with, like I said, with more responsibility comes greater risk. I don't know what exactly, but it's something like that. And yes, people should, with the more power you get, you should do that. Yes,
well, you argue that sportsmanship is really important in the world and in sports as well, in politics and in sports. However, it seems to me that the world disagrees with you because we have the very fact that Donald Trump has gained so much power in the United States through his bad actions. He's gained so much media attention through his words that seem to indicate he doesn't play fairly. And we also, we watched this clip that's being aired in an interview with the sports player. People seem to love it. We don't seem to be like eating up the sort of unsportsmanlike behavior. I'm not sure that increasing fines is really gonna change this. And you say call people politics. I think that might make a bit more sense, but like, are there solutions, and is this really a problem we should be even like, is there a realistic solution to this problem besides increasing fines, especially for politicians? Like, being a terrible person seems to be rewarded.
Yeah, as I said, regarding politics, I'm just saying a call out to the people because there really isn't such a solution. But as like a solid solution as raising fines, which may be implemented, maybe not. But I'm actually calling out to the people and like to their emotions to just remind themselves and like that you have to be aware of who you're voting for. Maybe people do react more to the show. That's what I'm saying. Politicians, like I think Donald Trump is doing it. He's selling himself basically. He's making a show up there, and people love it. People propose went up. People love it. People are voting for him. Maybe that's the key to winning. I'm not here to say that once again. Maybe that is the key to winning, but I'm not here to argue that.
Can you talk a little bit about the role that social media plays in the rise of gamesmanship?
Sure. Social media can play a very crucial role because that's when things explode. Like, as I argued, when PK or Arbeloa started this, PK said this in an interview right after the game, and that's what thing exploded. Social media saw that. It started a Twitter rant, people on Instagram, and basically every type of social media did this, and that's when things started to get out of control because people everywhere saw it, people reacted, fights, houses being destroyed, as I said, and little kids, I mean, they see that because social media is all around us. It's a very important part, and it has to be used responsibly.
And yet you showed a positive example of the use of social media in your example with Nico and David's conversation.
I tried to show that people do have to respond to good things as well, not only bad things.
So given that, that's interesting in relation to what Ms. Dutra was asking. Do we have a responsibility in terms of our use of social media? Is there something that we can do there to address gamesmanship versus gamesmanship?
I think we do. I mean, we do as all human beings. We are responsible for what we post. If I have a Facebook account, I'm responsible for what I post. And nowadays, as I'm saying, people love the gossip, the bad things. That's basically everything that explodes in social media. And I mean, we have to remember that there's also good things that can be spread across social media, but they don't get the same reaction as bad people, as bad things do. And we should be responsible and be aware that not only bad things are in social media, but there are also good things.
Anyone else? Thank you.